strong, empowered, authentic.
What's up, Ginger Nation? This is Tosh.
This is Darren, and you are listening to the Authentic
Ginger Podcast. All right, welcome to the show, Ginger Nation. I'm Tosh Taylor.
And I'm Darren Roach, and on today's show, us. Tosh, it's you and I today.
It is, but can we just give another round of applause for the amazing Owen Janes? Because I had so much fun on that episode. It was hard to edit it because I didn't want to take anything out.
I bet.
Yeah. And I really didn't. I left pretty much everything in there. Nobody said anything when I was like, wow, you have 140,000 Instagram followers. Nobody corrected me and tell me as a million Facebook followers. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, like I said to you on the phone afterwards, your face was priceless during that particular segment because, as I said, I knew I was going to hit that TikTok piece, and I had assumed that you knew that that's where it was, but at the same time, I thought maybe she doesn't.
No,
and so sure enough, it came out. Yeah,
I've never been on TikTok. I don't even know what the app looks like. So that to me was really embarrassing yet also hilarious because you can tell he's the type of guy that he didn't care. He thought it was funny too.
No.
So
he thought it was hilarious. Yeah, for sure. It leads me to the thought of me actually over the weekend joining TikTok. Not
did
as
you?
me as I did with Authentic Ginger, and I thought to myself, I don't know if I can create content like the rest of them do, so maybe I should just hire somebody to do my content and just find a redhead out there and hire a redhead and just put out content all day long, every single day, and see what happens. But I don't know, maybe we'll give it a shot. Who knows?
Do you see these? I'm going to look them up because I'm sure they're on TikTok, but they're triplets. They're redhead triplets on Instagram. Do you follow them?
Are they music related?
Yes. Taylor,
yes,
I think, is
Taylor Red Music.
Taylor Red Music. Is that what it is?
Is that what it is?
Oh my God.
I know what you mean.
I absolutely adore the three of them, and they put out some amazing content, and they do all the background of how they create every video too, which I think is really neat. Anyway, they're amazing content creators, and if they would like to take over your TikTok, I'm sure it would go over really well.
Yeah, absolutely. They're the ones that oftentimes you'll see them each with a piece of cardboard or something, and on the cardboard it has these sprinkles or whatever it is, and when they throw up the cardboard, is that what it is? Rice?
I think it's rice. Yeah,
it's really neat. And then of course it says something and whatnot. But I was pretty impressed when I think they hit 1 million too, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they just hit 1 million on Instagram, or I can't remember if it was Instagram or TikTok, but
unreal.
Definitely we need to get them on the show. We need to get them on for sure.
Yeah.
You know who else I want to get on the show?
Yeah. Anybody? Tell me who.
Dr. Laura Oakley. Have you heard of this woman?
No, please tell me more.
She's a vet up north and northern Canada. She looks after all the animals up there, and it's through a TV show or whatever that I saw her, and I thought, man, this would be really cool to have her on the show too. Just kind of talk about life up north, dealing with hurt animals on a regular basis. So I'm going to try to get her on too. I'm fascinated about some of the work that they do in the farm animals side of things for vet services.
Oh, we're so lucky because we have such a broad range of people that we can talk to. I'm really
so
pumped.
True.
But the
really
thing
true.
is the majority of redheads that you and I see, we see them because they're on social media, and that's how we find them. Right. And so if you know someone that happens to be a ginge, but is also doing remarkable things, brain surgeons, we want to talk to them.
All day long, we'll talk to them.
Because everybody's red hair has affected their lives differently. So I would like to know.
That's right. Speaking of, what about the news out of the royals? Have you heard the recent news? I don't think it's anything major, but Prince Harry and Meghan, they're looking for their security request to be back on board, as they want to take their young ones to England, and they're a little bit scared to take them over there without security.
I thought you were talking about Prince Andrew and how he has to fight his battles as a civilian, and that his mommy stripped all his stuff.
Well, he's got some major battles coming up in September or October. I wouldn't want to be a part of those battles, but
yeah. Well, he was married to a pretty vibrant redhead, so I think the original Fergie, F to the E
Yeah.
to the R to the G. So I think, quite frankly, I don't know, like, is Harry expecting the Queen, or shall I say the people that live in the UK, to foot the bill for this? Is that what it is?
That's what I'm hearing. That's what I took out of it. It's almost like, so you leave the royal family, and of course you know you're going to leave your security behind because that was part of the deal, and now you want to come back home, which I
Yes.
can understand. He wants to come back, bring his kids back to England, and that's fine. And maybe there's friends there and family that he wants to sort of parade them around, and so he's made a request to get some security in order to make that trip, but it's not looking good.
Spend your own money, turd. Like.
Well, this is what I don't understand, and I wanted to bring this up to you because I thought you might know more than I do because I'm not a big royal follower. I know you are, and like, what's the big deal with security anyway?
I believe the British people are crazy. And I mean that to mean that they are crazy about their royals. Like, I mean, you see the entourage. I mean, she's the queen, but like, you see the entourage that goes along with her. But it's would be along the same lines of, he left the royals. If he wants to have security, which I'm sure in LA he does, then you bring those people with you.
Right.
That's anybody else that's famous. Johnny Depp's going to the UK, he's going to Australia, he's going wherever. He's got his security team that goes with him. So suck it up. True. You wanted to be a big boy and live your own life, then you've got to foot the bill.
What's he doing for money?
Believe they're selling themselves to Oprah. That's what they're doing. He sold his ginger soul.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I love him. Right. I really think that he was really doing really great things, and I think he still can be doing really great things. But I think that he was never taught how to live as a civilian, so he's spoiled.
Sure, but she has. She's an actress, and she's spent probably most of her life doing so. One would think she would know what she's doing in the real life, don't you think? What do you know about Noom? Have you seen all these commercials about Noom?
Well, how do you miss them? Well,
exactly. So I'm about to take a 14-day free trial on this Noom because it's in my head now, and I can't help but think to myself, like, it's time to take charge on this whole weight loss thing and feel better. And I think Noom sounds to me like, if I can get control of my mental state of where I want to be, maybe I'll start losing the weight without having to take away much food. So this is what Noom is telling me. So just before we came on the podcast, I was filling out a shit ton of questions on the Noom site. I thought I'd ask you about Noom because I know we've all seen the commercials. Have you ever given any thought?
No.
Not that you need to, but have you thought to yourself, what would this be like?
That was smooth. Good cover.
Thank you.
No. And here's why. I am very anti-diet anything.
Me too.
I have not stepped foot on a scale in 12 years, probably. I have no idea what I weigh. And I shouldn't say that. I obviously stepped foot on scales when I was pregnant, but me and my doctor had a mutual thing that she didn't tell me how much I weighed, and I was okay with that.
Right.
So
sense.
She was totally fine. But I think for you and I in our generation, but okay, it wasn't so much so in my house because my mom is very skinny. She always has been. She's just built like a toothpick. So my mom didn't yo-yo diet or anything like that, but I still grew up in that generation of like 17 magazine and Cosmopolitan and for way too long, I worried too much about what I look like. And then I hit an age where I stopped giving a fuck. And these fucks are gone. They're just gone. And I think it was like
you gave them away.
Exactly. It was like somewhere around the age of 30 that I was like, you know what? None of this is helping my mental state in any way, shape, or form. Which what they say that Noom does. And I do know a lot of people that have lost a lot of weight on it. But I also have heard that it's just another calorie counting system where it's going to teach you to be in a calorie deficit, which isn't good for your body. So, but don't quote me on that because I haven't actually spent any real time looking into it because I don't want to.
Yeah. So we kind of argue back and forth in a fun way about these Nooms and Weight Watchers and all the different apps that are out there and everyone has their version of how you're going to do it. I've often have been like you to the point where, like, you know what, like, walk a half an hour a day, eat right, go to bed.
Yeah. Get your sleep. Yeah.
Get your sleep. Like, who gives a shit,
Yeah.
right? Drink a shit ton of water. Drink your 10 glasses a day if you want, whatever you want. But there comes a point when you're like, I just really want to know if one of these things are actually work. And so to me, this new one is the one that I'm thinking. I mean, I've done Weight Watchers before, and I've never lost significant amounts of weight, and that wasn't overly my goal. My goal is to feel better, right? And so before we moved or before we vacationed down in Tennessee to Sheva's dad's place 2 years ago for the last time since after COVID, it broke a routine that I had, and I wasn't doing any kind of dieting or anything like that. I was just, I was going to the gym. I started running. I'll tell you, I'll bring it up again. I've told you this before. I think hot tub is a miracle. It's a friggin' miracle. I was in a hot tub every single day of the week, 7 days a week. And I swam, and I thought to myself, that's all you got to do. Like, if I just get back to that, that's I'm going to be happy again. I'm going to feel, because right now, with everything shut down, it's hard to get out and do that kind of stuff, right? We don't have pools and weight rooms. Well, I know I don't. You might in your house.
No pool in my house.
So especially one that you can swim lengths to, you know what I mean? So anyway, so that was my this is my attempt at maybe seeing if one of these things work. Good. And so I think I'm going to give it a shot and see what happens. I'll report back throughout the time frame that I'll be on there. Maybe in a week or so, I'll probably tell you I stopped it, but we'll see what happens as the time comes.
If I'm going to give them any kind of credit, they are going about it the right way, right? Like, people, especially over the last 2 years, are more mentally cautious and conscious at the same time about things like that, and knowing that their your mental health comes first. I wish you all the best, and I think that diets are great for a lot of people, especially routine. Routine is a major part of it, right? And that's because my life being a radio announcer is set down to the second all the time, right? Routine for me is very easy. Breaking routine kills me. And I know that it drives so many of the people in my family and my friends nuts, because if you don't tell me step by step everything we're going to be doing, then I'm not coming. because I need to know when I'm going to leave and when I'm going to come back.
But there's a risk factor to that.
Oh yeah.
When it becomes a habit, how hard is it to break that habit then?
It's wickedly annoying. This is prime example. Week 2 of my kids being homeschooled, and it freaking kills my schedule. Like, I had to text you at 5:00 this morning and be like, oh, by the way, 9:00 I can't do anymore, because now my kids both have online school at 9:00 in the morning. And I would schedule everything for 9:00 in the morning. As soon as I get off the radio, I want to keep working, right? Or I'm going to get like lost in a lull of something else. So
what's up, Ginger Nation? If you're looking for authentic ginger swag, go to www.authenticginger.com. Use code AGPodcast for 20% off your next purchase. Well, there you go. I'll like I said, I'm gonna track this journey. Maybe I'll make the podcast the accountable piece, and I'll every other week I'll tune in and let you know how it's going, and then we'll see. What did you got for us in the news? What's happening out there?
I came across this news article about Mary, the Queen of Scots, and I thought she was the coolest redhead I've ever heard of in my life. She did not give a crap.
Who is she?
So Mary, the Queen of Scots, was the Queen of Scotland, and she became the Queen when she was 6 days old.
What the hell?
Isn't that crazy?
Did it come with a shit ton of money?
Yeah, I doubt it. It was like 1542.
Okay, so wood or something maybe.
I don't think
wood chips. Or something. Acorns.
Acorns. Yeah, exactly. So her dad was James V of Scotland, and then he obviously died when she was 6 days old. And then so she kind of took things over, but she wasn't really well liked, and she's kind of known for being nuts.
I wonder why.
But it's because she didn't care. Right. She wanted things run her way, and people, like, I think that, like the Queen of Hearts in Alice in Wonderland is like loosely based off of Mary, the Queen of Scots. Yeah. In the 1500s, tall people were rare. So like an average woman back then, and even still really, 5'4" was the average height. Guess how tall she was? 5'11".
Really? I was going to go lower than that, but anyway, 5'11". Wow. So she was super tall.
So when we talk about how the Vikings invaded Scotland, and that it could potentially be where the red hair in Scotland comes from, maybe She descends from Vikings, right? Tall, red hair.
Fierce.
And I don't give, the fierce, the I don't give a shit attitude.
That's great information, because to our listeners out there, the empowerment was there from the 1500s. It's just, we just got to get it back out there. And that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to get that out there.
Yeah.
Or how long did she live?
That's a good question. She didn't
I guess
live
not,
very
because
long.
back then you didn't anyway, but.
Like, her first husband died when she was 16. He was 16 as well. Yeah, she is the reason that people wear white at their weddings.
No kidding.
I'm not kidding you. When she got married, she insisted that she would wear a white wedding dress because white was the color of mourning back then. So anyway, she just, she was like, I'm going to do these things. This is how I'm going to roll. She died in 1587. So she was like 45 years old.
That's not bad for those times. I'm assuming that's pretty good.
No,
right? Like, think about that.
I know.
Right? Usually people were dying in their mid-20s
and thinking they lived a long life.
That's right.
Like, all right, I made it at 25.
There you go. Are you one of those people that wants to live to 100? Or are you one of the people that says you want to go to 140? Okay.
104. My entire life, I've said I'm going to be 104. So I believe that I will manifest that.
Yeah,
that's my goal.
I'm into the hundreds as well. That's where we're
yeah,
that's where I want to be. I don't want to be one of these. Like, I have friends who say don't even want to get close to that. Like,
oh no, my husband doesn't think he's going to live past 60. I'm like, are you like, we'll just be starting our lives then. What are you talking about?
Right.
Like,
I've got a couple of facts for you.
Hold on, I'm going to give you one more thing about her. She's so tough that when they beheaded her, they couldn't get her head off.
Jesus Christ.
They had to hack and hack and hack at her.
God, are you kidding? I mean, you making this up? Are you serious?
I am not. I'm not making up. Isn't she cool?
Born with a steel neck.
So cool. Yeah.
God.
Typical redhead.
Strong as hell. Things parents of redheads didn't know would happen. Here's a few of them, just to reiterate some of these ones, but also to bring you some new ones. Your child will be the star of the nursery. Yep,
it's true.
True story. Random people will want to touch their head. Well, we know that. Your child will identify with Disney cartoon characters. We know that as well. You'll need a lifelong supply of sunscreen. Absolutely, no doubt. Rarely will you lose your child in a crowd. Yeah, we know that too. You'll be able to identify your child's picture in his or her yearbooks. Always. You'll become well versed in genealogy.
Yes.
As I came to find out you were. You knew what you were talking about when it came down to the MC1R gene and the recessive gene. And most of the people I talked to, and I've talked to prior to us launching this podcast, they all had a really good general idea of where their hair color came from. Crayons do not do ginger hair justice. With all the science about the MC1R gene and how it becomes, redhead, come on. Give us a ginger crayon.
Please. Call it ginger spice.
That's right.
Carry on.
We'll take it. You should eat that or put it on your cheeks. We'll see. We'll see where it goes. And finally, you will endure a tremendous amount of pride as a parent of a ginger child. I think believe that is very, very true. So those are some of those. But I have something else I wanted to. It's a fact, but it's an argumentative fact because yeah, it really is, because I've always been confused. And I always wanted to, and I used to bring it up to my redhead friends all the time. And I would often say, I was being a dick, what color is your hair? And they would say red. And I'd say, no, it's not. It's orange. I said, no, it's not. It's red. And I'd say, okay, here's the color orange. Here's the color red. Let's see where your hair color lies. Oh, it lies on the orange side. Why in the hell isn't it not called orange head?
Because it sounds dumb?
No. I'm going to give you the answer. And
there's a legit answer to this. Okay.
The term redhead likely comes from the simple need to refer to redheads in English before orange used was to describe the color. In other words, humans were describing redheads before they were describing anything as being the color orange.
That's really cool.
Red is one of the three primary colors, along with blue and yellow. Regardless of language, research shows it's usually one of the first colors a culture names. One of the original uses of the term red dates back to 1297 in Europe, when it was used in reference to revolutionary politics, signifying blood and violence. I get it. The term orange is linked back to the 12th century and was originally used to signify the fruit in French, Latin, Italian, and Arabic. So, orange was not used as a word to signify color until the 1540s.
But you know what I'd like to know? I'd like to know when your daughters pick up crayons and draw themselves, what color of crayon do they pick up for their hair?
Orange.
Is it orange or red?
Orange all the time.
Yeah, it's my daughter.
A great
Same
question.
with my daughter.
Yeah, but that's because they know that there's more than 3 colors now.
Yeah.
Like if they only had ever seen, if they were like, red, blue, and yellow, they would use red.
Right. Yes. I wonder if that's where auburn comes from. If someone asked me what color my hair was, not now, but when I was a kid, it was auburn.
Right.
Auburn, like the brownie red, fire engine red. But I wonder if that was like in hopes of like trying to mix orange and red together.
Or did strawberry come first?
Or what came first, the chicken or the egg? I have no idea. I don't know.
These are the things that we do in this podcast.
Yeah. The things that some people maybe never thought of, but I would like to know actually where auburn comes from. So we'll task that for the next episode.
Yeah, task that for sure.
And we'll go from there. So good show. Lots of facts. Enjoy that. Just remember, if you take anything away from today's show and you are a redhead, you are strong. They can't cut your head off.
Yeah.
Don't let them.
And while you're there and listening to this, leave us a review. We love to hear reviews. We love to see reviews. It's super important for the growth of our podcast and for your culture. So with that, Tosh, I say adieu, and we will talk to you again soon. Thanks, everybody, for listening to the Authentic Ginger Podcast. You've been listening to the Authentic Ginger Podcast.
Become a part of the Ginger Nation by liking, subscribing, following, and leaving a review wherever you listen to podcasts. This podcast was produced by Tosh Taylor of the Podcast Hub Productions. Find her online at podcasthub.ca.